Neeraj sir, we are live. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Harish. Thank you so much. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen, our dear professionals, students and faculties attending this wonderful webinar from across the nation. Myself, Neeraj Arora, I am Senior Director at ASSOCHAM and look after the education vertical at ASSOCHAM. So friends, we all know that our NEP 2020 has been launched, and everybody has appreciated this policy. In fact, many times our Honorable Minister for Education, Mr. Pokhriyal ji, has joined us in our webinars, and he has told us about the best part of these policies. So, I mean, we can see that, for the first time, when a policy is launched, not only the Honorable Minister, but our Prime Minister, our President have spoken about this National Education Policy. It's a wonderful thing that government has not only launched this policy, but they are focusing that the benefits of these policies should reach to the end user, which are the students and the faculties. So friends, this is a wonderful policy, we all know, and there is a target that we will achieve most of the targets of this policy in next 10 years. So what they have done is they have divided this policy into 60-40 kind of things. So 60% of the targets will be achieved in next 4 to 5 years. Say for example, creation of new research institutions, changes in the school structure, and there are certain targets, long-term targets I must say, which can be achieved in next 10 years, like creating new institutions, technical upgradation in the infrastructure, and teachers training most of all. So these can be achieved by 2030. So our today's webinar has that much relevance because it talks about the scope of AI in teaching and learning methodologies. So friends, I'll just take 2 minutes and will brief you that with the support of Advisory, we have crafted the webinar series of 5 webinars. This is our second webinar in the series. Our last webinar was significance of personalized learning in higher education, and our today's webinar is scope of AI in teaching and learning methodologies. So to discuss, we have eminent speakers from various educational institutions. So we have Dr. Archana Mantri ji with us, who is the Vice Chancellor, Chitkara University, Punjab. We have Mr. Mahindra Sharma ji, Pro Chancellor and Director General, Ganpat University, Gujarat. Mr. Yashwant, Co-founder, Advisory, Data Scientist, ex-Etihad Sabri, IIT Madras. Dr. Adesh Kumar Pandey, Dean, ITS and HOD, IT, Kite Group of Institution, Ghaziabad. Dr. MS Ganesh Prasad, Dean, Student Affairs, New Horizon College of Engineering, Bangalore. Mr. Harsha Kankanala, Professional Doctorate in Engineering, Netherlands and co-founder, Advisory. And Dr. Ashish Bharadwaj, Director, IT, Torrance Global Education Services, Australia and New Zealand. So I would like to welcome all our eminent speakers and request Dr. Archana Mantri ji for her special address, please. We would like to hear from you that how AI transformation can help us or is suitable in teaching learning methodologies. Over to you, madam.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, perfect.
Sure. So thank you for that introduction of the topic. Very relevant, I must say, and I must congratulate ASSOCHAM to choose this topic, which is not only of relevance, but also, see, these days, adapting AI into education is no more a choice, it is a compulsion. So good, as many discussions on this topic take place with all the stakeholders, it is very good. Definitely something good will come out of it. So just as an opening remark, I would like to say that the future education is all about curiosity. Some of the radical thinking changes that we have to do, that we have to bring in our thoughts, that this particular statement is all about that. So we have to look at the education and the future education in terms, in context and in perspective of curiosity. It is all about generating inquisitiveness to nurture and encourage curiosity. We all have seen that the mundane jobs of bringing, delivering, teaching and learning content has either already been addressed or is being addressed by the technology. Earlier on, technology was just about using laptop, bringing or creating online content, delivering using PowerPoint presentations, and in the recent terms and current times, it is using mobile. But these are all things which have already been addressed by the technology. And in fact, the present is already looking at newer models of teaching and learning. And today also we are going to talk about how AI can be leveraged for teaching and learning. But for us as educators, we continuously need to look at the future. And while nobody can predict the future, one thing is for sure, that for the most sought for attributes for the future workforce are, the list goes thus, in my opinion: being curious, being adaptive, being lifelong learners, and to be able to respect Mother Nature, to coexist and nurture the environment. So I'll repeat: being curious, being adaptive, being lifelong learners, and to be able to coexist and nurture the environment. In fact, the whole purpose of education is being redefined, being rewritten, and being relooked at. The new education policy, as you just now mentioned, is also about relooking, redefining, rewriting the whole purpose of education. The question in today's topic, in context of the today's topic, and in the context what I just now said, is how AI can be leveraged to inculcate these attributes in learners. So when we are talking of teaching learning, when we are talking of AI, we cannot talk in isolation without talking about the perspective, the context, and the attributes that we want to bring in or inculcate in our learners. Let's go back to theory. We all know as educators here, and talking of higher education here, that there the education theory says there is a learner's triangle. Teaching and learning has got three vertices. Let's talk about this learner's triangle and the three vertices of the triangle. What is to be learned, how it is to be learned, and how it is to be tested. In other words, content, pedagogy, and assessment. The question is in the perspective and new context that we just talked about, how do we place and leverage AI as the backbone of this learner's triangle? Because everything that we do in the education has to be looked at in perspective and in theory as this learner's triangle. If we are talking of AI also, and if we are talking of teaching learning strategies also, this learner's triangle cannot be forgotten. The second context is personalized and adaptive learning. You just now said that the previous webinar was on the same topic. Finding the perfect balance between traditional linear learning and complex non-linear personalized learning is something that educators will have to keep tweaking as we move forward. Traditional linear learning, wherein everything is linear. You decide the content, you decide the way that you are going to teach and learn that content, and then finally to test it. But here we are talking of non-linear personalized learning. That is again to be put in the context of AI. And we are talking about moving away from traditional linear way of content learning, assessment, grading to a more spiral-based approach of design, learning, content, and assessment. Why are we able to talk about all this and think about all this? Because now we have newer tools and technologies and methods backed by AI, artificial intelligence, to make that transition now possible. Look at the learner's triangle again. The triangle itself is a figure wherein the three vertices of the triangle are co-placed. That is, nothing comes before the other, the three vertices I am talking about, and nothing comes after the other. This means that everything that we just now talked about, whether it is content, pedagogy, or assessment, has to be co-thought, co-designed, co-assessed, and learned, keeping curiosity at the center stage. Now, this is something, as I said in my opening remarks also, that it requires a radical change in the thinking or in the way we perceive education. Now, providing access to appropriate technology to students, first of all, using technology and AI methods to enable this spiral approach, wherein everything is co-paced. For example, you are teaching a content, but you are also learning the content and you are also assessing the content. You are also using newer and AI-based pedagogical aspects to bring personalized learning and adaptive learning into play. That is what is the challenge for the AI-based solutions that we are thinking to come upon, design for making curiosity at the center stage. Now, something that when we are talking about adaptive learning, personalized learning, again, as I said, all these things need to be co-thought. Then enabling teachers to provide appropriate support as and when needed. So when it is personalized learning, adaptive learning using AI, it is also personalized teaching, thinking of content and assessment adaptively. And this is what is known as spiral approach. We also need to give students flexibility around physical space, learning time frames, and instructional modalities. All this is possible using AI tools. This new paradigm of personalized instruction, it enables and gives educators an unprecedented opportunity to redefine their roles and scale up personalized education like never before. It isn't about educating more students with fewer teachers. Many of us have this in mind that with online mode of education now, it is possible to sort of blast the receiving mode. I mean, in a physical space, it was possible that only one teacher teaches and there can be only 60 or 120 or 500, whatever can be accommodated in the class, they can only learn. But with online method, now that blast can happen. You can have 1,000 students enrolled. But the point is not about teaching. It's also about learning. So when I say, and we are talking not about only learning and using technology to scale it up, but it is also about personalized adaptive learning, wherein each student tweaks, not only the teacher, but also each student is able to tweak all these frames or dimensions of learning as we are talking about. That's what is the challenge for the AI-based solutions that people are bringing in. Companies, there are many startups also now who are bringing in these kind of personalized and adaptive education into fore. We already have educators on the landscape. We already have teachers on the landscape. We already have students on the landscape. It's also about their personalized thinking transformation, wherein they also adapt to this personalized learning as opposed to the traditional and linear method of learning. So, sometimes in the I would say race and our quest and curiosity and enthusiasm of bringing newer methods of teaching learning on the platform, we forget about the social aspect or the adaptability aspect of the methodology itself, of the technology itself, whether it is teachers or students. That also needs to be co-thought. There's no scarcity of information, data, or content which is available out there. The problem is how well and authentic the indexing of that information can be, or how can we find the right information for the right purpose. So it's another matter that the learner or the student doesn't know, it may be possible, doesn't know what he wants to learn. So that aspect of information inclusion, information segregation, bringing the right information to the fore, that itself also is a question that can be very rightly answered by the AI. So again, I'm talking about in all this, we already know what are the AI tools available. I'm just talking about from the point of view of stakeholders who are going to adapt these AI solutions for teaching learning, from the point of view of people who are going to provide these AI solutions, and from the point of view of the learners who are going to use these AI solutions for teaching learning purposes. With so much emphasis on creating educational content now that even the regulatory bodies, international bodies, accreditation ones, ranking agencies, they are all emphasizing now on creating educational content. And we are going to be soon flooded with material being delivered through various platforms. In fact, we are already too much flooded. But as a learner who is new to the subject, to this whole gamut of new AI-based education, how can one conclude, find which is best for them? That's again a question. So as teachers, traditional teachers, we may not be aware of always the gaps in lectures and education material and what AI can provide, what newer technologies can provide. Artificial intelligence offers a way to solve that problem. So technology could be used in this particular case when we are talking of AI and teaching learning as an enabler, but only if we always keep the right perspective in mind, the right context in mind. See, the whole new education policy, the whole gamut of future of education is about bringing in curiosity. And curiosity is different from confusion. Let's not, in our quest and enthusiasm to bring everything onto the platform right at the knock at the door, we should not confuse instead of generating the curiosity. There's a very thin line. So AI again has the ability, and in fact it has the right mindset, right kind of technology which can make excellent recommendations after evaluating the content at multiple checkpoints and also redirect students to free learning resources. This type of system helps also to fill in the gaps in the explanation that can occur in courses, helps to ensure that all students are building the same conceptual foundation. Now, conceptual foundation, in again our enthusiasm of applying what they have learned, sometimes the conceptual foundation is lost. So therein, we need to keep the tradition of emphasizing, overemphasizing, always kind of keeping in our students, keeping this thing in mind of our students, that conceptual foundation is very, very important. However, application and the right context can be found using AI. So all this in a nutshell brings us back to the fundamental question that how can we use AI smartly enough to bring in, generate curiosity in our students? How can we increase flexibility? We can make the education more adaptive. We can always keep learn our students that they become lifelong learners. There is no start, no end to learning, and to coexist and nurture the environment. This is the whole purpose of education, and that is how AI should be leveraged to bring the newer aspect of education and the radical change in our thinking into mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Archana ji. Thank you so much for the wonderful session. And I think Mr. Yashwant and Mr. Harsha, you have to answer ma'am's questions, what she has asked, that AI is definitely beneficial, but we have to see that because there are now lots of solutions available in the market. So yes, it depends upon the solution provider, those who are adapting this and those who are taking benefit of this, that which system or which solution is beneficial for them. And AI definitely should be the solution provider, than that of creating confusion in the learner's mind. So we will have to take care that the solution which we are using is beneficial for the students, those who are ultimately gainer for the system. So we will have to take care of this. Thank you so much, Dr. Archana ji, for the wonderful message. And I can see very good attendance in the webinar. I mean, there are lots many webinars are happening around, but I can see a very good attendance in this webinar. So thank you so much, our attendees also. Next, we have Mr. Mahendra Sharma ji with us. Dr. Mahendra Sharma ji is traveling right now, but he has given his message to us. To us. So Harish, will you please help me in showcasing the video message from Mr. Mahendra Sharma ji? Mr. Mahendra Sharma ji is the Pro Chancellor and Director General, Ganpat University, Gujarat. Harish, please help us.
Yes, sir. Sure.
Thank you, Harish, for helping us in listening the video of Dr. Mahendra Sharma ji. Thank you, Dr. Mahendra Sharma ji, for listening to us. It was a wonderful message from your side. Now we have with us Mr. Yashwant. Mr. Yashwant is the co-founder of Advisory and data scientist at Sabri, IIT Madras. Mr. Yashwant, after applying his data science skills to maximize revenue for global airlines, he took up the challenges of modeling human learning and accelerates personalization. His vision to rationalize the learning system to meet the demands. So, implementing the artificial intelligence in higher education. So, what are your views on this subject? We would like to hear from you. And over to you.
Thank you, Harish. Thanks a lot. So I'll be presenting a few set of slides.
Yes.
Let me know if it's working all right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Cool. So yeah, good morning, everyone. And firstly, thank you very much, ASSOCHAM, everyone who has joined for making the time, participate in this, sharing your perspectives about it. I think there's never been a more appropriate time to discuss about AI transformation in education. This is the most important topic to be discussed. There's already been revolutions around internet. There's already been a massive impact on various other industries when it comes to AI and technology. Now it's time to understand how this can be used to transform teaching and learning. And in the context of NEP, in the context of the pandemic, I think this is most appropriate time. What makes this particular webinar even more exciting is the range of participants that we have, the range of panelists that we have, starting from educationalists to technologists to management of engineering colleges, management of higher education colleges, and to policymakers. We have an extremely diverse set of panelists who are, who made the time and who have given us their thoughts. Very, very nicely put forth by both Archana ma'am and Mahendra Sharma ji. Both of them, I mean, the kind of insights they've been giving about how AI can change the way teaching and learning methodologies have been predominantly in use today have been eye-opening, and I'm sure most of the participants would also agree with me. So I'll keep it very brief. I have 3 topics that I want to cover in very broad way. So one is the need for AI transformation. Why is it so important now than ever? The second point is AI's impact on teaching and learning. There are a lot of myths around this. There are a lot of questions on how is it going to change the role of a faculty member? How is it going to change the way a student learns, the way a student interacts with higher education institutions? How are they going to get jobs? What is going to happen? So there are a bunch of things that are going to be that can be discussed in that area. And the third thing is, what is the technology framework? While we all agree that there needs to be AI-driven learning and teaching, what is it needed before we take that step? What kind of a foundation, what kind of a basement do we have to look at before we can talk about a full-fledged implementation of AI in learning? So we'll pick up the first one. So this is a picture of, I don't think I can communicate with the participants directly, but well, this is a picture of Tesla's self-driving car, right? We are in a place in technology where cars are actually being driven by themselves. There is Wall Street trading, quite a significant amount of trading happens through AI bots, right? There is banking, like Mahendra ji was mentioning. There's a lot of application of AI in banking. There's a lot of application of robotics in manufacturing. So there are a bunch of things that are happening in industry when it comes to AI. But are we confident that the same amount of penetration is happening in learning and in teaching? Are we already at a place where we can say there is significant level of AI penetration that is happening in teaching that is going to make our students, our citizens ready for such a huge disruption in the industry? And I think the answer is no. There is still a lot of scope that is there that needs to be covered. There's a lot of penetration of AI that needs to happen when it comes to teaching and learning. So this is where I think the biggest concern that comes up, right? There's a large transformation that is happening. The people are worried about losing jobs. There are people who are worried about how AI is going to disrupt a lot of people being unemployed. But well, the answer to that is fast reskilling. There is no job loss net. There is always new jobs created and jobs being displaced. But there is no net job being dismantled or net jobs being disappearing, right? It's only the displacement of jobs that is happening, and that leads to what we call as the accelerated learning. So if there is a job displacement that is happening, new skills have to be picked up at a very, very rapid pace. And what is the answer to rapid learning? Artificial intelligence. So once we understand this concept of super fast learning, how do we get students to learn at a very rapid pace? Then we have an answer to some of the biggest problems that are going to be uncanned once AI starts getting into every industry, right? The other two forces that are changing the landscape of the industry is globalization and automation. Once you have these two forces working together, anyone from anywhere in the world can be working for the global giants. They can be working on bigger problems. They can be working on a larger set of larger companies. Now, when this happens, there is again a need for learning the language that is being communicated. How do we communicate faster? How do you learn the new skill sets that are necessary for taking up new jobs? Now, a large section of this has already happened because of internet. Today, we have access to pretty much every book that has been written, all the best libraries of the world, all video lectures that are part of MITs and IITs, every college that you can think of. So the access to knowledge has already been sorted by internet. There is complete access. It's super cheap to access knowledge today, but it is the desire to learn that has become more scarce. It is the want of learning. It is the curiosity to learn that is becoming a more and more of a rarer commodity, right? So this leads us to our, to my next point around what is the core, delivery that a higher education institution should do today. It's inspire students. It's building and nurturing that learning, the learning desire among students. That is becoming the most important thing, right? So in this context, what happens to faculty? What happens to your typical examination patterns, typical curriculum patterns? Well, the transition from that phase to a phase where you have AI driving learning is going to be a transition where all these constraints have to be thought about. All these constraints have to be put in one's mind, and you have to make it as a very seamless journey for the student as well as the institution, right? So this is a very, very important thing. So in our interactions with institutions, in our interactions with colleges, it's very clear that the questions around how do you circulate material, how do you collect attendance numbers, how do you understand, whether a student is participating in a class or not, these questions have already been answered by existing technologies. Now the questions have started to come around. Where is the learning gap for the student? Has he understood the concept in a proper way, in the right way that he has to understand? Does he have the creative ability, or does he have enough knowledge about creating something, about analyzing something, about applying something, what we typically call as higher order Bloom's level? The questions are more around how do we understand where the learning gaps are for the student than about just circulating information or circulating notes and material to the students. So that the transition has just started to pick up. More and more technologies are moving away from a typical a process of distributing knowledge to more about understanding where the gaps are in terms of a student's learning. So this change has started to happen, and it's a great thing that we are seeing among all the engineering colleges. The second most important thing is, like Mahendraji was talking about Jill Watson and Georgia Tech, there is a large need for guidance and mentorship to students. A lot of students, it is just about if they know what their strengths and weaknesses are, what their aspirations are, and how do you reach the knowledge levels, or how do you learn about those particular things that will take them to their chosen careers or to their chosen paths, that is going to give them a substantial value in the long run. And this is something in a world where there are millions and millions of people who want to get trained, learn. Giving that individual attention to each and every student is going to be a super, super hard problem. And I think AI here can make a huge difference. It can understand what has been the historical performance of a student, what is his language levels, what are his psychological levels, what are his strengths and weaknesses, what are his aspirations. Does he want to become a creative programmer? Does he want to become a data scientist at the end of the day? What does he want to become, and how do you create a path? How do you mentor that in an automated way is what is going to make a huge impact on the future of learning. Another aspect that got covered in that has been very well put out was a student having a question at 4 a.m. in the morning when he's preparing for an exam, right? So having 24/7 access to these resources, having that guidance at any point in time to anywhere in the world. If there's a person who's in Africa who wants the best quality of mentorship and guidance, technology is going to enable him with that kind of access, right? So you forget about Africa. Even in India, there are so many remote places where you would need best teachers, best faculty members to help them out. When they are not able to be in every place, AI is going to, I think, make a big difference in their lives. So quality and access to every student, every person in the whole world who want to get access to learning and teaching. I think this is going to be a huge differentiator when it comes to AI. So a lot of these things, in my opinion, are there's a lot of scope that needs to be covered. There's a lot of data science that is going to be needed. There's a lot of predictive analytics. There's a lot of dashboards. There's a lot of insights that needs to be drawn and given to the faculty members, to the management, to make appropriate interventions as and when it is needed. The third aspect is now the technology framework. So the graph on the right side that I put in is something that came up from Facebook. The knowledge graphs is nothing but every person is connected to every other friend when it comes to a social network and their interests. What have you clicked? Have you clicked a like on something? Have you commented about something? Have you shared something? All this information is put together to create a personalized experience for you. So when you open a Facebook, you see posts that are very, very relevant to you, right? So the question is, how can we do the same thing when it comes to a student? When he's learning something, how do you create a very personalized experience to him, which are based on his strengths, his weaknesses, and his future aspirations? Within the framework of curriculum, can we do this is a bigger challenge, right? So this is where knowledge graphs happens to be like a game-changing experience, game-changing technology when it comes to education. So this can look like a really fancy thing to be done, but I just want to show you something that that is already out here. This is something that we've been building in terms of what we call as an engineering knowledge graph. Here, every subject that is out there is connected to every topic of engineering that we map together. This is an open graph. This keeps growing. There have been collaborations, and we've been talking to other colleges, other global institutions on how do we expand this even further. So all this, basically what it does is it connects every engineering topic that is out there to its prerequisites, to its industry applications, to what is needed in terms of the latest trends that are happening in the market about a particular topic. Altogether, it creates two things. One, it creates a context for learning. Why are you studying something? Why is it needed in industry? How is it going to fit into your learning needs? The second part is it creates an analysis that shows the faculty members on where is the gap existing. Is the student not understanding a certain topic because his prerequisite knowledge is not good enough? Do you have to focus on a remedial part? Do you have to focus on clearing off his prerequisite knowledge before you get somewhere? So all this information is captured in what we call as a knowledge graph. This is something that is being built, and what I've shown is just a small snippet of it, just a tip of an iceberg, but there's a massive room for growth here. So once you have this layer of technology, then you can think of it as a teacher who is explaining a particular concept. He can go back 2 steps before. He can go back to what a student has studied in his first semester, And then depending on how he has understood the first semester topic, he can completely craft the new topic that he's talking in that context. And that turns out to be an extremely powerful thing when, imagine if you're in a classroom and you have this information on your fingertips, the kind of changes that you can bring in the students' understanding levels. So this kind of technology is what I think will enable a lot of faculty members, a lot of teachers to make learning a more a seamless experience for the student. And knowledge graphs is one fundamental area where there's a lot of scope for disruption in the whole teaching and learning methodology. The second part is analytics. And when I say analytics, it's a lot of insightful analytics. It's not just data that is being shown to the student or shown to the faculty member. It is about what do you have to do from that data that makes it a much larger difference. So when I was in Etihad, the airlines, I was looking at data at such a granular level on how many times has a passenger traveled in the past, which airlines has he traveled, how much was he paying for it, how long was he staying in a particular place when he goes there. So all this information, what we call as segmentation, was used to drive how much, at what price do we sell a ticket to him, what is his maximum willingness to pay, as we used to call it. So if we have information at that level, just think about the kind of things that we can give to the students, the kind of very, very personalized recommendations that we can make for him, right? The kind of insights that we can draw from the data and tell him, hey, you know what, this is an area where you are extremely strong in. This is the kind of career that you should think about. This is the kind of books you should be reading about. This is the kind of YouTube videos that you should watch and learn about new things. So the area of analytics and how it's visualized and presented to the set of students and faculty members turns out to be a huge advantage, and that turns out to be a very fundamental requirement if you are talking about AI, right? So today, if you look at how much information are we even gathering about learning, it's very, very little. You have no information about what students are reading, how much time are they spending, are they enjoying what they have read, are they good at what they have absorbed, is it really helping the student apply it in a different context? Not really. We don't have so much of information. While there is massive amounts of information when it comes to banking, when it comes to even today, when it comes to driving, the systems are gathering so much of information. But today, still in education, there is not so much of data that is being collected. So apart from knowledge graphs, which is more of a background and more of a foundation for learning, analytics happens to be data that we are collecting from the student and faculty members. How are they teaching? How is the student absorbing? What is the kind of outputs that it is generating? Once we have these two informations, the knowledge graphs and analytics, that's when we can arrive at true personalization. And when I say true personalization, it takes into account the entire history of what the student knows, doesn't know, and what the student wants to learn and wants to become. So once you have the historical data and what he wants to become in the future, then you can clearly lay out a path, what we call as a learning path, to show him step by step on how he has to prepare, what he has to prepare, knowing about what languages what language is he comfortable in. So imagine somebody who has studied in a vernacular medium, right? A Hindi medium student who wants to become an engineer. You need to be exposing him to different kinds of content. A lot of people think of edtech companies or learning technology as something to do with content. It's actually not. Content is just one small piece. It is giving the right content to the right student is what is going to make the biggest difference, right? There is nothing like the best content for everyone. Somebody who's been studying in an English medium school all through his life, he would probably be able to absorb something that is written by a foreign author in US. But when it comes to somebody who has been studying in Hindi medium, you'll have to break it down into a level which he can absorb at an easy way. At the end of the day, there is no pride in learning in English or learning in Hindi, as long as you are able to absorb the concept and you are able to creatively apply that in your industry, right? So this level of personalization is what I think is going to make a tremendous change in how the teaching and learning happens in the future. So for me, at the end of the day, there are only three things that are needed when it comes to the technology front. One is knowledge graph, where you are organizing all the information that is out there into a very, very connected piece, where everything that is related to a particular topic like thermodynamics is all together in one place. all your prerequisite, independent of whether it is being studied in first semester, second semester, everything is put together as a global knowledge graph. The second thing is analytics on where the student is studying, where is he finding good progress, where is he being stuck. All this information that is out there being collected and being processed and shown back to the users as insights. The third thing is blending both of them to create a very, very unique, personalized learning path for every student. So if we are able to do all these three things, I think we can really harness the power of artificial intelligence when it comes to teaching and learning methodologies. At the end of the day, I think the closing point that I want to make is NIRF has something called as faculty to student ratio, and it gives the highest mark, 100% of the mark, when the faculty to student ratio is about 1:15. And this is a hard number for many colleges to crack, right? And think about a place where you have a faculty student ratio 1:1. How is there a place where every student is being mentored, he's being guided, he's being taught by one unique faculty who is able to inspire him, who is able to nurture his curiosity, and who's able to give him the right kind of information at the right time, and accessible 24/7, right? So that is, I think, what a true definition of personalization would be, bringing that student to faculty ratio as 1:1, and that faculty is also somebody who knows everything about you, who's not just coming in, for a 4-month semester, but knows your entire history, and who understands, and not just knowing, but also understands what your future aspirations are. I think converging to a place like that would be, the next frontier when it comes to teaching and learning.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Neeraj ji.
Thank you so much. And you are absolutely right that nowadays data is a very important thing. And after collecting the proper data analysis is another important thing. And once this data analysis is done, this should be utilized for upgrading our education system so that our students ultimately and faculties can be benefited. So, and that's where AI plays an important role. So thank you so much, Yashwant ji. Thank you so much. Now we have with us Dr. Adesh Kumar Pandey ji. Dr. Adesh is the Dean, ITS and HOD, Information Technology, Kite Group of Institutions, Ghaziabad. So Dr. Adesh ji, over to you.
Sir, I would like to use some of the slides. And
yes,
yeah.
Yes, please.
Is my slides are visible to all? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So, esteemed team of ASSOCHAM, distinguished fellow panelists and dear delegates, I am honored to share my views on this very relevant topic, especially in today's pandemic era, where everything has been changed from the delivery pattern to teaching pedagogy. My previous speaker, Yashwant ji, was rightly pointed out that now when we are facing the pandemic, especially in India, in most of the universities and colleges, we have switched all our assignments, grading systems, or delivery teaching pedagogy in online mode. Now, the biggest question which the Yashwant ji was pointing out that, are we able to find out how much our students are spending time in our online classes, reading books, taking the fairness of in grading system is involved or not. So now this is the right time for India, for educationists or for the industry person also to think about the real application of AI in education system. Now the teaching pedagogy, placement, mentorship, guidance, assessment and grading systems, everything is going on online mode. But frankly speaking, as a head of the department or as a faculty, I can share that nobody is sure that how much genuine time or how much fairness has been taken, adopted by the students, even by the professionals. So now here is the intervention of technology required, especially AI techniques, so that the real assessment system, mentoring system can be brought through the enablement of the AI-based technologies. So this is also essential to understand the basic concept of AI so that we can correlate the application of AI in education system, especially in the context of Indian education system. So if we see the application of AI, it's growing from e-commerce to healthcare and in education system also. So what is the classical definition of AI? It basically artificial intelligence defined as the capability of a machine to intimate the intelligent human behavior. When I say intimate the intelligent human behavior means, so AI is a backend algorithm that programs machine to emulate the extend the human behavior and extends. So now AI, if we see the context of European countries or American countries, AI is almost they are using in every field of our day-to-day life. So now if we imagine that in a college or in a university, we want to understand a performance, we want to analyze the performance of one of the students who is studying in computer science or electrical engineering. It is a difficult task for a particular director or head of department or faculty. But if we use the AI-enabled tool, that it becomes easy for us to understand the psychology of the student, understand the teaching pattern of the student, understand the failure pattern of the students, understand the psychology of our faculty member, those who are teaching the classroom. And once we understand that psychology of the student and our teaching fraternity also, it becomes too easy to train them, to provide them personalized content. Now, see, if we are taking a particular class in the classroom, I'm a teacher, I'm taking a class in my classroom. So 65 or 50 students are sitting in front of me. Now, in this particular era, the students are very smart. They are expecting that the teacher should teach the content which required at the personal level to the students. So the IQ level or the expectation level of all the students are not same from the teacher. So now that in this current era, we are covering or discovering our curriculum also in the classrooms. Now the need arises that we should understand the personalized learning expectation or requirement of the student, and we develop our curriculum, develop our course material, develop our delivery system, and to fine-tune our teaching pedagogy also. And believe me guys, it is not possible without the intervention of technology, and AI is the best tool where we can say that from the experience of the automated cars, where all experiments are going on. If that kind of innovation takes place in education system also, we can solve our day-to-day problems also in special context of Indian education system, where our wide variety of linguistics are involved, different requirements from different regions are there. Bill Gates, through the Bill Gates and Melinda Gates Foundation, has invested $120 million for personalized learning. They are developing a software where they can develop the education content or personalized lesson plan as per the requirement of different geography of the world, the different needs of the students. So a lot of work has already started, but we have a lot of other things have to be required to do in this field also. So, rise of artificial intelligence in global education. Outcome of amalgamation of technology with innovative learning process has absolutely revolutionized the education system across the globe. If we see in financial terms, in 2016 only $160 billion has been spent by schools, universities all over the globe to adopt the technology in teaching learning process. And it is going till 2020, it is going with 17% annually. So it has been reported that by 2023, the global education market with technology will be of $3.68 billion. So there is a lot of scope for education companies also, a lot of scope for the educationists also. So my previous speaker was pointing out that, so how to upgrade the teachers now. No, the AI is not going to eat up our jobs for the teachers or for educationists or for trainers, but there is a need. Adoption of the technology should be taken care by the teachers also, and we should upgrade accordingly. So now, with the advent of AI, IoT, and ICT, lot of invention has taken place or lot of new opportunities has been created in education system also. If we see the already application of AI, emotional well-being of the student. See, nowadays in current system is in mostly education institute is that if the student faces some personal problems or some professional problems, we have a mentor allocated there. Faculty mentors are there. So now, see, the faculty mentors, they are highly trained educators, but they cannot be, we cannot say that every highly trained educator is a trained mentor also. They can, so that they can understand the personal and professional need of the students. Here, the intervention of technology and AI, we can involve the tools in future also, so that they can understand the psychology or the need of the students, and they can mentor also. Spotting and filling the gaps. Analytics and prediction is very, very important, and nowadays, see, a lot of data is generated in the education system also. So if we able to understand or pointing out the real gap in a particular subject or in a particular delivery system between the teacher and the student relation also, then we can initiate the timely action with the help of technology, and the problem can be sorted out. Now, the student has to learn to work along with the AI. AI is not a replacement. The AI-enabled tool is not a replacement of the teacher. As per my personal view, they can supplement the role of the teacher. So, like the teacher has to perform various tasks in universities and education system. So, if we develop the AI-enabled tool, so they can complement, they can supplement the job of the teacher also, and teacher can devote more time on their studies or developing the content which are required in today's era. So if we see the artificial intelligence in education, how the broader the AI can help to the student to teaching fraternity. Lot of other subdomains comes under AI: computer vision, audio processing, natural language processing, knowledge representation, machine learning, expert system. So if we can see, if we understand the psychology of a kid in our homes also, so how they view the which content on YouTube, which content they like. The same thing happens in the university education system in nowadays. So sometimes the book which is given to the students, they didn't like to study. They want to spend time on Google, and they want to take the material out from there of their interest. But it is taking a lot of time. Googling and searching the study material on internet is taking a lot of time. So here the role of AI can be very useful for the teachers also, for the students also. We can develop some of the tools which can help the student to search quickly, or it can help for the teachers also to develop the personalized content. For example, if as a computer science teacher I am teaching theory of automata and formal language, if I am spending 4 hours on web or internet to search the relevant content for my students, which is relevant to deliver my next 2-3 lectures. So now AI can help me. How can I develop, or how can I search the personalized content which is relevant to my delivery level, with the understanding of my students. So grading, assessment, and evaluation. This is, see, in pandemic time, in my college also, in our college also, we have shifted on Moodle, and all our grading system, assessment, and evaluation is taking in online. But frankly speaking, we are not sure that that technology intervention is taking place. But the smart technology is still not there in India, where we can ensure that there is a normal distribution in marks. There is a fairness. A lot of proctoring system is also involved nowadays, but still the lot of scope is there where we can expect the AI should propose some of the models where we can do the grading system, assessment of our students in fair manner. AI-powered chatbots. We have seen a lot of revolution in this area, in banking system also and other areas also. Can we see, I was talking about the mentoring system. So AI can enable us for developers also, for the users also. Now 24/7, my previous speaker, Mr. Neeraj, was pointing out that if there is a chatbot available as a mentor or as an educator, which who can guide the student, the chatbot can guide the student. Even in, see, a lot of thoughts are coming in the student's mind in night, because a lot of students nowadays like to study in nights also, in hostels and in their place also. So if they face any problem related to content, related to any mere thoughts, so assume that after few years, the mentors, AI-enabled systems as a mentor are available for the students. AI-enabled chatbots are enabled to the students, and then and there they can search, they can talk to them, they can solve their problems, they can share their feelings also. And as a educationist, I'm sure that it is bound to happen. It is almost started, but it will take some time in India. But there is a need of this kind of system in education in India also. So how AI can be very helpful in education sector also. Now, adaptive learning. See, my previous speaker was also talking about the personalized learning, predictive learning. Nowadays, very, very important. See, in a mid-sized university or college like us, we have a 6,000 plus students. So for me as a education administrator, it's very, very difficult to understand the problem of each individual student, and to understand the problem of my staff also. So here the role of AI can be very useful. We can deploy the tools which can understand the personalized need of the student. For example, one of my students, I want to understand the requirement of the student, the performance of the student, and on the basis of the performance, I want to suggest as a teacher to my student what kind of elective will be good for him or her. What kind of a technology or working domain will be good for him or her. Now, right now in the Indian education system, in universities and colleges, it is quite difficult. A lot of data has to be analyzed manually or in tech-supported softwares also. A lot of colleges are using the LMS also, but it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time, and when we ask the time from the teachers, actually we are asking their creative time, where they can spend time for study, for research, for guidance, for innovations. So if we can develop these kind of tools, which are already started outside India, and the resource and time is required to bring those systems in Indian education system, so it becomes very easy to understand the need of the students. We can analyze we can even predict the student at the admission time also. If this branch will be computer science is good for you, electrical is good for you, electronics is very good for you. So, and personalized learning is another area where, see, now students don't like to study a good, very heavy textbooks. So now teachers are facing very challenging time in education institutes. What kind of a content should be supplied? What kind of a content should be developed? Can we develop most of the colleges, engineering colleges are using in this pandemic era LMS systems, learning management systems. So what kind of a material should be put on the LMS? How the students are using, how to understand the pattern, which learning material is good for the students, how the students are rating the learning management. So this kind of a system, now at present it is not possible for us to do this kind of analysis, but by the intervention of AI-based tools, we can do it, and it will help a lot to the students also and teaching faculty also. Learning analytics. See, as personally as a teacher, I also, when I'm taking a physical class in the classroom, I am aware by seeing in the eyes of my students, what if I'm delivering something right to the students. So when I come out from the classroom, I feel that today I had delivered that, the students are satisfied or not. From the experience of a teacher, the teacher can then and there decide that what was the level of delivery. But in today's era, when we are delivering everything, teaching pedagogy has been changed, teaching methodology has been changed. A lot of things we are doing in the online space. We are taking online classes, online labs. We are giving the problems, the programming problems, other practical problems to a student to solve there from homes, and they are uploading their solutions on their LMS and other platform also. So now it is very, very difficult to understand, to judge the grading system also, to assignments also. So here the role of AI-based tools will be very effective. If we can bring this tools and technology in Indian education system also, we can afford that kind of a time and resources, then it will be really great. And as previous speakers were saying that this pandemic, now this is a new vertical of learning. This online education is not going nowhere. It is here to stay, and we are going to be in blended mode. We are also preparing as an institute for blended mode, and where if government permits, some of the students are sitting in the classroom and some of the students are attending the classes and labs from their homes, natives or hostels. So now the role of AI-based enabled tools becomes a very, very relevant in today's era, and we have to cautiously use this so that we can really judge that the performance of the students. It's a real challenge in last 10 months, how to judge that whatever we are delivering to the student, whatever process we are adopting for a particular student or particular class, they are adopting it, they are the knowledge which is disseminating to the students, they are grasping or not. When we are doing assessment or examinations online, how fair the examination system is now in a particular online way. So that kind, where in this particular domain, AI can help us. So how challenging is to, especially in Indian education system, to adopt the AI? So different tools are there. Even now, in a lot of universities and education system, or a lot of companies are offering a lot of tools to the universities and colleges. In my view, the three-layered approach has to be adopted by the Indian education system, universities and colleges, or even schools also, to inculcate the AI practices, what are available or in future also, so that our processes, online delivery, assessment, mentorship, scheduling, and all facility management should be good, right? So the first and foremost top job is the tutors, trainers, professors, and AI developers should sit together. See, AI developers are domain experts. They understand that how to develop. But the professor and the teacher or trainer understand what to develop. What kind of content has to be developed. So the first job is that the AI developers and the professor or trainer should meet and especially design the education and training programs for the students. Now, the next target is to educate the people about the AI, educate the trainers, educate the teachers, educate the users also, student and other teaching faculty, prioritize the development of our own human intelligence. See, a lot of apprehension is there with the advent of AI and other ICT tools. Either they are going to eat up our jobs. So answer is no, not at all. AI is just work based on the human intelligence. So human intelligence is always required. The third vertical, tackle the education challenges while using AI. Now, on the basis of expectation of the students, different courses in different universities are facing challenges. In some of the courses, they are very attractive. Students are taking admissions. In some of the courses, the students are not taking admissions. But the problem is not that the course become irrelevant or they are not job oriented. The answer is the proper knowledge is not there. Proper kind of a guidance is not there to the students. Here the role of students can be very useful. Train the educator and trainer. Once these two verticals are ready, then we can train our educators and trainers on AI-based tools so that they can use in their classes, their labs, and their day-to-day activities also. When I was exploring for this talk, I explored that from some of the very good articles that nowadays a lot of tools are available where they are using the AI-based techniques for. See, the one tool I find very useful, Kid Adaptive, which is very useful for kids, and on the base, this tool is developing the kids' learning management on the basis of their psychology. So, for example, in a particular alma mater class, 25 students are there. On the basis of psychology of learning, the usability of the student, this tool is recommending the learning material to the student. So again, moving toward the personalized learning. Adaptive learning. See, what kind of a curriculum has to be developed? So now different section of society needs different kind of a teaching pedagogy, needs different kind of a language. So now adaptive learning, if we adopt the AI in adaptive learning, it helps us to develop those kind of teaching material which can be useful for the particular section of the society. The course materials. Now a lot of tools are available online also and in open source area also, where we can develop our course materials. Now Coursera and Udacity and other the MOOCs platform also offering this learning, this personalized content-based learning management system to the students, where students can learn on the basis of recommendation on the learning of their learning patterns, and they can move from one course to another course on the basis of recommendation from the service provider. Lot of tools are available for the students like Duolingo and other things. I'll not read all the names of all the tools. So the guidance system. See, LinkedIn and other tools are available where the AI-enabled tools are helping to the professionals also, to the students also, to search their jobs and other guidance in the market space also. This, where I want to focus, smart e-content for improvement of the connectivity of the students. Almost all the schools, all universities are using video lectures, curriculum development, content generation, and the multiple choice questions. But the still question arises that are we giving the same the things which required by the students? So again, here AI-based tool can help us, the professors or educators, to develop their contents on the basis of the requirement of the students. So when we do so, our classes and labs delivery becomes more interactive, and the students they'll take the interest in our classes. And no talks, especially in India, can the complete without the discussing of the need of the rural education system. The study says that.
Adeshji,
yeah.
Adeshji, may I request you to please complete?
I'll take 2 minutes.
Is possible?
I'll take 2 minutes, sir.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure.
So, if we go to the rural side in either in schools or universities, you don't find that the good quality of teachers or good quality of ICT materials available or to the students over there. So here AI, and even the study says 50% of students get drop out from after their high school. So here we can develop the tools and technology on the basis of AI-based enabled tools. So the good professors or educators can be available, those who are in different city, for the students, those who are sitting in the remote areas of our country. Assistance to the teachers of rural areas. We can develop the tools and technology where the expertise of the good teachers from good universities can be helpful to our teachers and educators in the remote villages also. A World Economic Forum report says by 2020, most of the Indian companies are going to adopt, or the world companies are going to adopt the AI techniques. So now it became a challenge for universities or like colleges to develop the workforce, to train our workforce so that they become employable in the market. So this is the next challenge for the Indian education or Indian university system, where we can prepare our students to take this challenge. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And you focused at how AI can help us in upgrading our systems. And your presentation has lot many information. We would request you to please share your presentation so that we can share it with our attendees also. Thank you so much, Adeshji.
Yeah, I'll do.
Yeah.
Thank
next
you.
We have with us Dr. M.S. Ganesh Prasad ji, who is the Dean Students Affairs, New Horizon College of Engineering, Bangalore. Ganesh ji, over to you. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to panelists. Good afternoon to authorities of ASSOCHAM for giving us the platform to share our views, our ideas about implementation of AI in higher education, particularly the topic, the AI transformation in higher education, scope of AI in teaching learning methodologies. So when we talk about teaching learning methodologies, we go by one thing, that is outcome-based education. All the higher education institutions supposed to go with the concept of outcome-based education. So when we talk about, hope I'm audible to all of you?
Yes, sir. Please.
Yeah. As far as the outcome-based education is concerned, we need to really look at. Each and every student is unique in his learning ability.
Ganesh, yeah, may I request you to please switch off your video so that your audio quality will improve.
Yeah.
Switch off your video.
You want me to switch off the video?
Yes. Now, please.
Yeah. Is it okay?
Yes, please speak.
Yes. Yeah. As far as outcome-based education is concerned, each student is to be looked in a unique way because their learning ability is different. We cannot compare in the 60 strength of a class. Each one will learn in his own way. Some of them may learn from the teachers in a direct classroom or nowadays in an online classroom, but some students like to go through in their own pace by studying their own materials, comfortable materials, and also some like to listen from their peers. So this is a situation where learning is going to be a little complex, where AI can be implemented. So as far as the implementation of AI is concerned, I'll keep myself with my discussion very brief over here. As far as the discussion what Dr. Archana ma'am, Dr. Manohar, then Dr. Adesh Kumar and Ashwan were all mentioned in a very detailed way about personalized learning. Thanks to all the panelists who are actually given exhaustive or in-depth understanding about the implementation of AI in teaching and learning. As far as implementation of AI, at our institution, I will directly come on to the AI tools, how best we implemented, and because of the AI tools, finally how we can achieve our goal, that is outcome-based education, which we have to really look at. As we know that India is really, appreciated by Western world for the education system. So even today we are being appreciated. That's mainly because the best of the best brains go out and maybe for their higher education or maybe for their jobs, and they do really work hard and get the name in their universities or in their corporate circle. So because of that, Indians in the Western countries very much appreciated. And in recent past, as a dean of the institution, I just wanted to mention to one thing is as far as the use of the protective way of bringing up the child, makes the child really not going out of the way to learn something new. Here the AI come into picture. So one, I just quickly take some questions which are actually posted in the chat box. So what are some use cases of AI, if any of that are being currently adopted in higher education? Yes, we have adopted AI tools in our learning management system. We do judge the students in the beginning, depending upon their academic performance in the quizzes and in the assignments, depending upon their competition, academic competency. We go by scheduling their questions through these quizzes or the continuous internal evaluation and the toughness of the questions. So here the faculties really worked hard and they built a huge database, and they identified what is the toughest question, what is the easiest question. So depending upon the academic competency of our students, the questions are going to be popped up, and they will be taken up to the last. It's not that only few questions are appearing and they complete. Every student has to go through all the questions. So in a very slow manner, maybe for a slow learner, the students, with having a slow learning ability, they do go by answering these questions in a step by step. May not be with respect to a highly competent student, but end of the day or end of the course, all students know what is what. Across all the departments, we have 9 undergraduate programs across all. So we do follow this AI tool. As far as adopting the AI, in our higher education. This is one point which I wanted to mention, and because of this, our placement ratio in the college is very good. And also, I just wanted to mention to all the participants over here is the dropouts. What our previous speaker, Dr. Radesh Kumar, was mentioned about 50%. That is on a too high. I just wanted to mention because in the last NAC visit, the experts from NAC they do appreciated our statistics of dropouts, which is less than 1% in our institution because of the implementation of AI tools in most of our learning management system. I also may like to bring one important point to the participants over here. At our institution, I'll keep discussion more into our institution because all my panelists who discussed more with respect to the use of AI about the personalization, about generalization, about customization of these AIs. Okay, I mean artificial intelligence for higher education. We already implemented those techniques. Okay, and we are, day in and day out about teaching learning, we do follow the same thing. So from the teacher's point of view, well, teachers supposed to, as being an autonomous institution, we supposed to customize our syllabi from the university first, but the second, important point is from the industry's point of view. So from industry's point of view, they do the technology changes across all the domains. Need not be at the computer science. Okay, even at the electrical, electronics, mechanical, automobile, the technologies keep on changing. So how best we can accommodate those technologies for the present curriculum, so that students are really competent and they can really do a good job in their next, either in their higher education or for their placements. So for that, there's going to be a matchmaking tool. Okay, maybe the students who are in a service-oriented industry, they can be a part of it, or they can be a part of product development industry, okay, or a process industry. So there are necessary matchmaking tools. So where the students can be a part of this matchmaking process, and the placement officer is going to suggest the students can be a part of which industry, so that they can continue their professional career without any break. As we all know that as most of the students join because of their parent pressure or their peers support, or maybe with respect to easily getting a job. Okay, so but the real strength is different. Okay, I just want to mention this point over here. The real strength of them can be understood by an AI tool. Okay, so which we are actually following over here. So and understanding the real strength, necessary counseling. So the good number of students are keep continuing in their professional career, and they can do really wonders. Okay, so this is what I just wanted to mention. And from the teacher's point of view, as each department is having more than 600 students. Okay, across 9 departments. Some departments are also having more than 1,000 students, like computer science, information science, mechanical engineering. So in here, monitoring all students for their academic progress, it is definitely kind of an tough task. A tool is being brought in where the students' attendance is being monitored very thoroughly. With respect to the attendance entry, I just wanted to mention one. Any student who are actually absent more than 3 consecutive years, the message is actually to the parent, the class teacher, the head, the deans of the institution, wherein they can really, academic mentors can guide the students, okay, depending upon the situation. And also, I just wanted to mention to the participants over here, if a student is really in need of some counseling, which can also be taken up. Okay, so this is what is being happened because of this connectivity to the students. What is happening is overall the dropout rates are considerably low in our institution. Okay, so overall, as far as the higher education system is concerned, even though we do mention that the higher education is one where students are supposed to be self-moved. Okay, but in this highly volatile okay, where the technology changes almost every quarter of a year, so implementing such things, definitely students are supposed to keep track of all those things. So AI can definitely help students community, AI can help the faculty community, AI can help the management, okay, in the best possible way. Okay, this is about me, Mr. Neeraj. Hope I keep it very brief about the implementation of AI. Okay, so as far as higher education system is concerned, okay, so thank you. Thanks to all the authorities of ASSOCHAM, okay, for inviting us to be part of this national webinar.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ganesh. Thank you so much for your message. Yes, and I have personally visited your campus, I think last year during AICT visit. So your campus is definitely a clean and green campus, and I am sure that you must be implementing AI technologies for transforming a good change in your students and faculties as well. So thank you so much, Dr. Ganesh, for your message. Now I would invite Mr. Harsha Kankanala, who is the co-founder of Advisely. Mr. Harsha, over to you.
Is my voice clear? Is it audible?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. So, good afternoon once again. I think for last 1.5 hours, we have really touched upon a lot in terms of scope of AI. All the eminent speakers, we have heard right from how it has to be used in outcome-based education from the recent speaker, to the way it has to go as per technology from Yashwant, and then Archana Mantri ma'am has really started pretty good in addressing the need of curiosity to learn as such, and how the learning triangle has to be, the balance of it has to be maintained. And of course, every speaker has got has really given us a lot of info on how this AI transformation can actually happen and the scope of AI as such. I would like to share a small presentation. I'll keep it very, very brief, just a 3-slider. I might need permission for doing the same.
Harish, please give right to Mr. Harsha.
Yes, one second.
Harish is giving right. Yeah, now you have the right.
Thank you. Just a second. Okay. My system is asking me not to do that. It's creating some issue on that. So anyways, I'll go further. No, presentation is not needed. I'll make it more oral. I'll still make it count. So when we speak of AI systems as such, it is pretty important that we also understand that this is not something new that we are trying to adapt. It's been followed right from ages. I always take one example. We all know our mythology. Most of it might have seen Mahabharata. So there, I'm starting with a small story so that I don't want to bombard with more information on scope of AI. I think we have really heard a lot from the eminent speakers before. So when you think of story Mahabharata, I mean, you have one great teacher that we always remember, Guru Dronacharya. When you think of Guru Dronacharya, just think of him as a teacher of today. And then he got to train both Kauravas and Pandavas. And there in that process, he got 5 Pandavas from the same master clan. So literally from the same family, all of them have come. And then he's supposed to teach them. But the way Guru Dronacharya has seen each one of them is completely different. The moment Dronacharya understood that Arjuna got really good focus, he mastered him or trained him in archery, and we have seen the history of it. When Guru Dronacharya understood that Bhima is a powerful man and a fearless man, Gada is his weapon, and we have seen the history for it. And then the moment he has seen Dharmaraja, who is a person with a balanced set of mind, wherein he's not overexcited, he's always have a clean way of making decisions. He has trained him to be a very good leader. And Nakula Sahadeva, more about a structural bent of minds, and then a person who can really train animals. And then we have seen the kind of education that he has given for all 5 of them is so different. And because of which we are able to see the entire history of Mahabharata. And imagine if every one of them has got Gada to fight. Imagine if every one of them has actually got archery to really train. You wouldn't have seen such a mythology and such a history for us in Indian context. Now, Imagine the same Guru Dronacharya coming to our classroom. Now he doesn't just have 5 students. I mean, I'm trying to relate every teacher to Guru Dronacharya. I come with an intent that no teacher comes to an institute with a bad intent. I come from family of teachers, and the value of teaching as such is so important in education. So the moment Guru Dronacharya in 21st century, if he enters into a classroom, he is supposed to teach not 5 or 10, but then he has about 60 students in a section, and he's teaching about multiple sections. Probably the end of it, he might be training or teaching about 500 students at large. And imagine how can he still do what he has done back in the history. And that's what AI actually comes into play. Whatever that I have just explained as a story is actually a personalized education that was given to them. And because of which we have seen a history. Can we really bring that back to current times and still make a difference? So we are not speaking about something Greek and Latin. We are not speaking about something that we can't imagine, that we can't create, but something that can practically be done. But the only limitation that we have is the scale and the technology. So when you speak about scale and technology, as I said, even Guru Dronacharya will find it really tough to do the same for 500 students. But can we really solve the issue of scale? That's where technology comes into play, and that's where AI comes into play. So AI is just a tool of something that we always wanted to do, and it's not something that will scare us out. It's not something that will scare teachers out. It's something that really helps teachers and really make a difference. So starting with the learning of Mahabharata, the way we have also done our research for last 3-4 years in understanding institutes' needs, and something that outcome-based education also defines that every student is unique. But are we really doing that in your institutes? I mean, when a faculty walks in, imagine the same situation again. I leave it to your imagination. Imagine a faculty is walking into a classroom, and then he or she sees 60 students. Is there a chance that they can see every individual learner and give them what exactly they need? They don't. Now, what are the limitations that we have here? Time and the amount of work that is needed, the amount of understanding that is needed. So for all these problems, when you just plug in AI systems, what happens the moment institutions are empowered by AI technology is, we're not thinking of a huge infrastructure where institutions need to install, data storage centers and for all processing of data, nothing as such. The moment you set up this AI-powered AI technology into your institute, the only thing that would happen is faculty will be empowered with insights. So the moment he walks into a class, he will be able to see that out of the 60 students, there are 30 students who are unable to understand this particular topic, because of which the score is going low. And these 10 students, they have learned really good, but still they are unable to score. Now the reason is not about learning, the reason is about time management. So they don't manage their time in the assessment. So though they are a student who's worth getting 90%, they always end up getting 60%. So if you don't have that insight that this particular set of students have a problem with time management, you end up giving remedial class, you end up teaching the same thing multiple times. But the problem is not with the learning, the problem is with the time management. So certain intrinsic details which are humanly possible but impractical to be applied or to really get into institutions is something that AI brings onto the table. And believe me, the moment a faculty or an educator or a person who really changes lives of students is walking into a class with such a good insights, he can really become Dronacharyas, and he exactly will know what is the point of thing that I really have to explain to the students, so that their education, their career and everything will get streamlined. So having such a perspective in institutions is pretty important. And as Yashwant and every other eminent speakers have really mentioned, it's more about data. So as we have been speaking about AI transformation for almost like last 1.5 years. There are multiple questions that institutions ask us. I would like to put those forward so that in the participants and also in the panelists, the questions that they might have in mind, I just wanted to clear off. I think that will open up our minds in accepting it in a larger extent. So the very first question is, we have a curriculum already set. So we can't say here is an AI personalization, you can read anything, you can learn anything, and you can take any test. You don't have that much of flexibility. So the moment a curriculum is set, how can AI be implemented? Or is there scope for AI to still act? Definitely yes. Though you have a inbound curriculum and you have restrictions over the curriculum, within the curriculum for 4 years you teach us 50 odd subjects, you teach us 5,000 odd concepts. you can still personalize learning for a student within this, wherein his overall academic learning can be improved. So curriculum is never a constraint. So whether you be affiliated, autonomous, or a private university, AI systems can still help you your university in a better way as such. Now the second question is, okay, curriculum is fine. How about what is the role of a teacher? As I just mentioned, the role of a teacher will transform into a person who teaches to a person who coaches and guides. So today, if I think as a student, it is pretty much important for us to have more coaches and guides than teachers who just teach a topic. Now, what is the importance of a coach? Coach is a person who understands me deep down and mentors me to achieve my goal. Teacher, if I just go by definition, teacher might teach a topic, but then do they have really time to guide me, mentor me, and take me further? It's really tough. So as AI systems really cut down, save a lot of their time on assessments, a lot of their time on evaluations, and a lot more things that are already there, and institutions are already picking that up. So as it saves a lot of time, all the time that is being saved can actually transform into coaching, wherein every student is actually coached rather than taught. Now, that's about role of teachers, as many institutions think of. Now, the second thing, the third question that I will get very frequently is, the moment you set up this, will that create a confusion? Neeraj Arora sir also in between this panelist discussion, he has mentioned that it should not create a confusion, it should give more clarity. Now, in these terms, if I have to make a comment on it, students are actually confused in general. Even today we don't have AI systems. So are students having some clear clarity on where they are heading for? 80-90% of students that we spoke to, most of them are confused, irrespective of how much of training that we give to students. Institutions are spending a lot of their time and resources in making sure students are really focused on certain things, and the CRT trainings and a lot of things that they do. Still students are confused. That's the reason they end up in coaching centers. And AI systems actually clears all these confusions, because it really personalizes. It has the historic data. It knows that you are looking for, you're weak at this, you're strong at this, your personality is this, you're not good at teamwork, probably you're really good at critical thinking, you're good at logical reasoning, and you're good at concepts which are related to, front-end development, but you're not good at related to cybersecurity. It really understands all those things, and that's the same thing that it put forward for the student. So all that confusion he would probably have, thinking that what should I do next, can actually be cut down. So AI systems are extremely supportive as a technology in reducing the confusion of students, increasing the clarity of a student, and more importantly, structuring his thought process towards his 4-year degree. And that's pretty much important as such. So that's for the question that was asked in between these discussions. And one more question that we constantly hear from colleges. Now that we are speaking about NEP, will AI systems actually help NEP? In fact, I'm a strong believer of it. I believe that AI systems are must and should be applied for you to really achieve NEP protocols. Now, why is it so? Imagine right on today, if you're saying you have multiple entry and multiple exit points for students. Students with so confused mindset, without not having a clarity on where they're heading for, what they're good at, what they're bad at, if you ask them to stop anytime, start anytime, they end up being nowhere. So it is pretty important for systems and institutions to understand how students' journey is going on. And so AI systems can actually help in achieving a NEP to the highest standards. Not just implementation, but then executing NEP is always a challenge. And believe me, as I spoke to quite many colleges in last 3-4 months, NEP sounds pretty good, but if you don't have a clarity, NEP can create a bigger mess. So for us to really come out of it, AI systems will actually help a lot. And I think clarity of information, understanding what is happening in the institute, what is happening with the student, and having all the insights right in front of in front of management and also in front of students can actually help them a lot as far as NEP implementation is concerned. And the last important question that I constantly hear from colleges, these AI systems or all the systems have just come up because of COVID, point number 1. Point number 2, will that help also post remote learning practices when students comes back to institutions? Every college is concerned that once you come back to institutions, all these webinars that are happening, they might become null and void. That's not the case at all. Because the moment student enters, I mean, today in remote atmosphere, you are still tracking the information, everything is good. Imagine the same students coming into your class and you still have that information. The amount of magic, the amount of, inspiration that you can give to students can be, increased by 10 times. So it's not just limited to remote learning. It is also, if students comes back and something. So, with this, I would like to conclude. I wouldn't. If there are any questions, I would like to take them. But yes, systems are being implemented. AI systems are a current need.
Thank you, Harsha. So if you can switch off your video, yeah, your voice will improve. Yeah, please. Yeah, Harsha?
Yeah.
Would you like to speak? Yeah.
Yeah, just to conclude, many a times it is assumed that AI systems and whatever that we are speaking goes on a long-term benefit basis. But what about short-term? What about current examinations that are being conducted? It's not fact. AI systems, they work both short-term and long-term. Short-term in terms of an exam is taken, immediately providing learning paths for students based on the weakness that they have. Long-term in terms of having all the data and still helping students to figure out on their long-term career and academic goals. So AI systems are both short-term and long-term, can be easily implemented, and it's already there in the market, and it helps the faculty, it helps institutes to align to anything. So I think today is the right time, like never before, that we think of it, and we really think beyond LMS and ERP systems to really make a difference in education. So thank you one and all. It's been a wonderful session for past 2 hours. I think a lot being spoken, a lot being discussed. I think discussions is the first thing that we should really come out with. Discussions really brings the thought processes, and thought processes will inevitably becomes the change and the protocols going further. So thank you, Neeraj sir. Thank you everyone for your patience. Hope you found the session interesting. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. And Harsha, I was just thinking while you were talking, right? Why don't you give us some live example? I mean, you must have implemented these AI things in many of the institutions, colleges. So if you can, give us some live on example in the next session. We are planning a next session on challenges in applying AI technologies, the role of institution. So instead of just talking on PPTs and oral, I think if you give us some live example that what you have implemented and what benefits students have got, and how you have implemented, what are the challenges you faced, and what are the best outcomes of that. So I think that will give us more practical experience to our educationists and as well as our audience, those who are attending to us. I mean, I can see still a very good attendance. I mean, it has been over 2 hours, and we can see good attendance in the webinar. So it shows the success. Thank you so much, Sasha. Now we have our next speaker, Dr. Ashish Bharadwaj ji. Dr. Ashish Bharadwaj ji is the Director IT, Torrens Global Education Services, Australia and New Zealand, and based in Sydney, in fact. So, Dr. Ashish, first of all, I would like to thank you for your patient listening. You are the last speaker for the day, and you are listening to us since last 2 hours. So, first of all, congratulations and thanks to you. Dr. Ashish Bharadwaj is an executive technologist and educator with over 20 years of rich experience in delivering impactful technology and innovative solutions to global companies, architecting solutions, consulting, building alliances, and managing strategic ITs. So, Dr. Bharadwaj, we would like to hear from you. Over to you.
Thanks so much, Neeraj. I hope I'm audible.
Perfect, sir.
Excellent. So, as you rightly said, it's been 2 hours, and being at the fag end of the chain, a lot has been said. So I'll kind of fast forward through a lot of things I was planning to cover. But just to make it a little interactive, right? I thought I'll try and substitute what I would do normally in a face-to-face classroom session. So I'm going to ask the audience a question, and I'm going to request you to have your mobile phones handy. Okay. So the choices I'm going to offer you are two. ASSOCHAM is very, very happy with you for attending this webinar. So it's going to give you two options, right? Option one is it's going to pay you 1 lakh of rupees every day for each day in the month of December, starting from the 1st. Option two is that it's going to pay you 1 paisa, and I'm not saying 1 rupee, I'm saying 1 paisa on day 1 of December. It's going to double that on every subsequent day for every single day in the month of December. So day 2 you'll get 2 paisa, day 3 you'll get 4 paisa, and so on. What I'm going to request you to do is take your mobile phone, scan this QR code, and just vote option 1 or option 2. And I'm going to give you 30 seconds to do that, which should be sufficient time. Just to repeat the options. Option 1 essentially is 1 lakh of rupees every single day for every day in the month of December. Option 2 is starting at 1 paisa, doubling it every single day in the month of December. So I'm seeing votes coming in. Very good. Okay, so we have some votes that have come in. I'm going to let you see what the result is. So for the people who voted, if you scan this QR code now, you get to see what was the result of that poll. Okay. So the idea is all of you who voted for option 1, right? Pretty straightforward. You would have got a figure of 31 lakhs and you were home. Option 2, it might interest you to know, this is the Excel calculation. You would have wound up with just over 2.14 crore rupees if you sum total all of it up. So guys who selected option 2, I think quite a few of you did. Well done. Now, the reason I'm giving you this example is that you will see this is the power of exponential growth, right? Till you've reached day 22, you're actually at a figure of 20,971, and you're 67% of the time in terms of 31 days through. The magic starts happening after that, right? So if you start going downwards from day 25, you'll see how rapidly things grow. And the reason I'm giving you this example is that's exactly where we are with AI today, right? So AI has been around for a long time. You've had, applied neural networks and so on and so forth. But this is really where we are at this point now, where you're seeing AI becoming ubiquitous. So it's available everywhere today. You wear it on your hand in the form of a watch. You have it in your stereo speakers, and you have it pretty much, as was mentioned in previous examples, self-driving cars, etc., 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 right? So that was the intent, and you're going to see it grow even more as things go. So essentially, without getting into descriptions, AI is the attempt to create machines that can do things previously possible only through human cognition. So I'll give you a small example. All of you must be using Microsoft Teams, some for remote classes, etc., etc. It would interest you to know that if you do a recording of a Teams meeting, within the next few minutes, you will have a complete automated transcription of that entire meeting with everything everybody spoke, which is 98% accurate. And that accuracy will increase as the algorithm learns, right? So today's artificial intelligence isn't general, but narrow. It's largely based on machine learning and is not embodied. So AI does not need to scare us that, there's going to be this fancy looking robot that's going to walk into our class and take away our jobs or, kind of make us redundant. That's not the intent. We, at the moment, have AI, which is there in these 4 buckets. And you can have AI being called assisted intelligence, where systems are essentially helping humans make decisions. You could have augmented intelligence, where you have systems that augment decision making and continuously learn from interactions as they do that. You have autonomous intelligence, which is, pretty much the holy grail of AI, where systems can adapt to different situations and can act pretty much autonomously without human assistance. So that's a spectrum that we have. Now, all intelligence at the moment, you need to remember, comes from humans, right? And if you look at most machine learning systems, you're basing them on human data, which has been labeled by humans. So you look at examples of facial recognition, object detection, etc. All of that is really, based on human labeled data. You can also have AI, which is based on statistical regularities in human-generated text, speech, or art, etc. You can also have this based on closed rule-based worlds where machines can generate training data, and classical examples are game of chess, game of Go, etc., etc. Or if you now start applying it to the more interesting things that we see nowadays, you have a combination of these, and a classical example is something called deepfake videos. You can do a Google of that term. Essentially, you have GANs, which is generative adversarial networks. So two algorithms, one creating a fake video based on real images, the second trying to detect if that video is actually fake or not. And whichever algorithm ultimately wins is at a point where the guy who's trying to detect cannot detect that video from being a fake. So very interesting applications you have today, and these are actually able to shape human behavior and behavior of students in teaching and learning. So at a very high level, without getting into this details of this, we've talked about, previous speakers have spoken about the instructional aspects, which include self-paced progress, personalized and guided learning, pedagogical improvement. They've all talked about that, so I won't spend too much of time. Equally, time has been spent on student support applications like academic advising. So can an algorithm actually guide a student as to which subjects to take to make up a certain credit base so he can actually be most successful in whatever degree he or she is pursuing? Just-in-time financial aid. Can the university or institution offer micro loans or other forms of financial assistance to a student to prevent them from dropping out if they're not able to pay their fee? And this has been especially proven in the time of COVID, where the parental jobs or other things, are uncertain. And third, of course, is early warning systems based on how students are engaging with teaching and learning systems, learning management systems, not just at a point of time, but from a series of events, right? So can I actually predict early warning of student dropout, student success, etc., etc.? So those are classical examples of AI in teaching and learning. Going forward, but I want to spend some time on this one, which is that there are a number of caveats we also need to be cognizant of, right? The first one being data quality and quantity. Now, in institutions in India, we have problems with both. So we have problems with data quantity because we don't know enough about students. We have problems with data quality as well because, if you look at our database systems, a lot of times we have redundancies, and so on and so forth. So that's something we need to keep in mind. Remember, the algorithm output is going to be as good as the quality of data that the algorithm is learning from, right? So that's something we need to be aware of. The second is correlation is not causality. So I'm giving you an example here where the spending on US science, space, and technology correlates with suicides by hanging, strangulation, and suffocation to 99.79%, which is fantastic, but it's not causal, right? So it just happens to correlate, that's fine. And again, the algorithm may point out something that's happening, but it's not necessarily going to be causal in nature. So being able to identify that, properly is again a judicious use of AI. Third is unintentional algorithmic bias. And there's been so many headlines that have been there, whether it's gender bias, whether it's bias of other forms. I'll give you an example of a leading e-commerce retailer, which actually was trying to apply AI in its hiring process. And just because of the fact that a lot of the people which were successful in terms of characteristics of its employees happened to be male employees, the algorithm learned from that data, right? And the algorithm therefore started favoring males for hiring. And that became an issue itself. So again, no fault of anybody else, but that's the way the algorithm learns. So again, that bias, if it creeps into AI, that needs to be factored in. The next is something about obvious results. So, it's common sense to know if I put toast in the oven for too long, it's going to come out like what it looks like on the screen right now, right? If I were to go back to my school days or university days and ask my professor of organic chemistry, what percentage of the class is going to flunk the first time around, his answer would have been pat 80% plus based on his years of experience. He doesn't need an algorithm to tell him that. So obvious results are again something that sometimes algorithms wind up giving us, but we need to be cognizant of those. And the last is implementation and change management. And this is a classical statement. It's very difficult to get a man to understand something when his salary depends on his not understanding, right? So a lot of times, if you're trying to introduce something esoteric like AI in an academic setting, a lot of times the algorithm might be saying or giving a recommendation, but that recommendation gets ignored by the person who's looking at the recommendation because they feel it is not accurate, right? So again, that tempering in terms of adoption is very important. And last but not least, we've spoken about quantity and quality of data, but if you combine that with currently existing privacy issues and data protection laws, you'll find that particularly in overseas countries or overseas geographies, it's very hard to get that kind of data and collect it and actually then have the algorithm train off it. Okay, so between those two, it's really a balancing act you need to find between the amount of data you can collect and effectively use for an AI algorithm to effectively. So these are some of the caveats I thought I'll kind of spend time on, and that's where I'll pretty much stop, just to make it, because I know I'm the only one standing between you and lunch. So with that, Neeraj, back over to you.
Dr. Ashish, I mean, it was really a very crisp and wonderful, very interactive, I think, presentation. So thank you so much, Ashish, for this. So, I mean, although I have received many questions, but I think I should take at least 2 questions. Otherwise, our audience will, they will be annoyed. So, I'll take 2 questions. One is for Yashwant and Harsha. I mean, whoever may like to answer. It is from Ms. Jayashree. So she mentioned, as a mathematics faculty, really keen to know how AI-driven learning can help mathematics learning, especially in engineering education in this online setting. So, yeah, please.
Yes, I'll take it. So here, as ma'am mentioned, engineering mathematics as such has been one subject where, though every student has come as coming out as an engineering graduate, but one of the toughest subjects that they are facing, or the highest failure rate, is in actually is in engineering mathematics. That's a hard fact to accept, but that's the case currently. So a pretty good question. In fact, the way it works is, I'll take one example for engineering mathematics. If you think of exact differential equations, probably you might have been teaching it for a long time. So there are 5 different methods on how you can solve exact differential equations. Now, when you speak about that, a student, when he takes an exam in a conventional system, he got a question he's unable to answer. The immediate output is he doesn't understand exact differential equations. In fact, in the current systems, the immediate output is he doesn't understand the entire unit. Unit might have 10 topics, and exact differential equations is just one topic, within which it has 5 methods to solve it. So our analysis is not taking us deep rooted, wherein faculty can find out that in exact differential equation, this particular student has a problem with method 3. Whereas if he is getting a question on method 1, he is able to solve. So the problem is not with exact differential equations or with the unit. The problem is with method 3, wherein he is unable to understand what integrating factor he has to use in solving that equation. Rather, he is getting confused and he is using something random, and that's where he is going, in the wrong direction. So engineering mathematics as such, in being more specific, and I kind of very much believe that mathematics is the fundamental for anybody to become an engineer. So in engineering mathematics, understanding that intrinsic details, I'm using this word again and again, intrinsic details of where students are failing, able to crack the concept. Something that if a mathematician or a faculty gets to know, I think your way of seeing it will be different, and then you will definitely address that method 3 for that student, and you will see the results getting better. So yes, in mathematics, it can be of very high use. We are speaking about problem solving. Mathematics is full of problems, so there's a lot of problems that we can solve, and AI can really be of great help in really clearing out the clouds that students might have in their mind. Yeah, if that answers the question, sir. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So, I think another question is again from you, Harsha. I mean, I think you can answer this question in our next webinar. It's Kashyap is asking, what are some use cases of AI, if any, that are being currently adopted in higher education? So he has around 3-4 questions. So I would like you to, I'll share these questions with you, and Harsha, if you can answer those questions to him over email, if possible.
Sure.
I think you can answer this question in our next webinar also.
Definitely.
So I'll take one question from Dr. Ashish. Dr. Ashish, this question is again from Mr. Kashyap. this is implementation is in higher education is a great topic to deep dive. Yes, given the flood of knowledge and information on the internet, how does AI solve the problem of choosing content wisely, especially in a conventional degree system that's time bound? So, Dr. Ashish, if you can answer.
Sure, I think that's a great question, and that's one of the most important things one needs to teach youngsters today as well, incidentally, not just algorithms, right? And I go back to that example I gave of deepfake videos, right? For example, those are, I mean, perfect to an extent that an algorithm trained to detect fakes can get, checkmated by something like that. So I think it's very important to understand context and to give that context to the algorithm and to people, humans who are actually searching for information as well. Learn where to look for sources, learn what is an authoritative source, learn the context of the query, learn the context of the answer, and then kind of, move forward. It's not an easy question to answer, and I understand this is not a black and white response also, but I think some of those points are important to consider while the algorithm or the human is deciding what information to believe and what.
So, thank you so much, Dr. Ashish. Thank you so much. So, what I'll do is, Harish and Deepak, please help us in collecting these questions. And after compiling, we will share these questions with our eminent speakers, with the email IDs and phone number of the attendees, those who have asked this question. And we would like to answer these questions to them through email. So, thank you so much, dear eminent speakers. Today's session was really wonderful, and I can still see excellent number of attendance for this webinar. I mean, this is not possible nowadays. So it shows the importance of this webinar. And in fact, I have received some messages in the chat box also that this topic is very interesting, and people are asking for the date of our next webinar. So thank you so much, Harsha and Yashwant especially, for designing these important topics. And thank you so much, our eminent speakers, Dr. Archana ji, Mr. Mahendra, Yashwant ji again, Dr. Adesh Kumar Pandey ji, Dr. M.S. Ganesh Prasad, Mr. Harsha again, Dr. Ashish Bhardwaj ji, for sparing your valuable time and giving your important thoughts on this important topic. So thank you so much once again, and thank you so much, dear audience, those who are listening to us since last 2 hours. And we will definitely share the date of our next webinar with you. And I would request you all to please join us for that webinar also. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. And bye.
Yes, okay. Thanks all.
Thank you all panelists and the participants. It's been a wonderful session for the last 2 hours. Really looking forward for the same.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks all. Bye.
Bye, sir. Bye. Bye. Thank you, Adesh ji. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thanks to all.
Bye-bye, sir. Bye.
Thank you, Deepak. Thank you, Ajesh ji.